It's 2 o'clock, yet another Tuesday. Welcome to Generation C. I am Jamie Lee Loss. This show is aimed at empowering the youth throughout with 3 segments: The Zone, School Corner, and Vasi Chat Room. Generation C is the show that recaps on The Zone, giving you reason why it is the best read on a Tuesday. The Zone is published in the Republican, Namibian Sun, and Allgemeine Zeitung. Please do stay tuned for our daily ad, as today is World Teachers' Day. Today in studio, we're joined by a very special guest, but before we get into the interview, let's take a look at this week's publication. On the front page, we have the fierce and dynamic duo Eric and Kevin, the brains behind the KP Studios, who were selected to conceptualize the Netback Namibia Young Professionals campaign. Page 2 is all about the road safety as we take a look at the Automobile Association of Namibia in conjunction with the City of Windhoek, MBA Fund, and partners who held the #ICU campaign under the Western Bypass flyover on Thursday morning. Learners from Steenkamp Primary School made their way to the event as pedestrians, wearing reflective sashes to send the #ICU message. Please watch the video to hear more of the important messages shared during this event.
Western Bypass cannot kill people every day, meaning somebody must be accountable for life lost on this road. Somebody must answer, because it's a constitutional right to live. You cannot be killed by a policy, because if the policy does not provide for all people, if people are killed, somebody must be accountable, must respond. Now, let me come to drivers. I believe there are drivers passing us here now whose licenses are supposed to be revoked. Meaning people that are repeating. If you go to MBA Fund, as the MBA Fund, we are at the experience of people walking in with wheelchairs. People, young children that are maimed, whose lives are destroyed. And that driver is still passing us here. So, government instead, I have the question to the Namibian police. I have the question to Roads Authority. How many driver's licenses were revoked this year? How many licenses were revoked this year? How many lives have we lost this year? Supposedly to the same number of people killed, we are supposed to have the same number of driver's licenses revoked just this year.
Continuing on page 2, be sure to catch our Box Pop. The Namibian Organization for Youth with Disabilities hosted a strategic planning conference in Swakopmund last week. My Zone caught up with them to find out what they think the biggest challenge facing the disabled youth are. Please do stay tuned for the video.
Colleagues, Simon, let's move.
Firstly, youth with disability, their main challenge is education. Because if you're not educated, you cannot get anything. All the higher institutions, because mostly we can go to primary, pre-primary, then higher education. From there, it seems like the higher institutions are not prepared to accommodate us. Especially as with the deaf people, because wherever you go, you didn't need pressure. So sometimes now you end up paying the pressure in your own pocket, which you cannot afford. So for me, I feel like the higher institution should cater for when they're catering for us, they must know that we give the value of interpreters.
The feature on page 4 delves deeper into the psychosocial support, a universal love language, and the regional psychosocial support initiative, which is driven by various African states and is currently one of the leading psychosocial support programs for children. On page 6, we share the story of Rachel Frankel, the overall Namibian dressage champion for 2019 and 2020. And on page 7 is our star teacher all the way from Keetmanshoop. Janine Diergat is a life skills teacher for grade 8 to grade 11, and she shared a video with us on her teaching journey.
Hi, I'm Janine Diergat. I'm a 29-year-old female. I'm a teacher at Keetmanshoop Secondary School here in Keetmanshoop. I've been born and raised in Keetmans. I've completed my primary school at Kronline Primary School and continued my secondary education at PK de Villiers, also a secondary school in Keetmans. I used to be a very, very naughty little girl, but as life progressed, I've changed a lot into a very formidable lady. I have been raised by both my parents in one house, my mom and my dad, and I have two siblings, sorry, we have three. Obviously a brother and a sister. They are both younger than myself. My sister is also currently a teacher and my brother's still at school. Most of our lives we've just spent here in Keetmans. It's a very homey town, if I can call it that. I've moved out years of Keetmans, but then I came back because of the people here, our our memories that we have here and everything, and all of the people we know here, basically all our family members are here. And yeah, Keetmans has always been that dusty town, but here we know that here is love, here is family, here is friends, and here is home. So it will always be home for us. Personally for me, we know that it's not a very developed town, but it's getting there slowly but surely. Okay, I deal with home circumstances with my kids. I deal with financial problems with them. I deal with things such as mental health and so on. Sometimes it's very difficult to talk to these kids, to give them advice, to motivate them and encourage them. But somehow you find it in yourself and you continue doing what you do. After my secondary education, I moved to Windhoek, where I started my tertiary education at the University of Namibia. I pursued a degree in industrial psychology and media studies. So I've completed the degree, but after completing it, I struggled a lot in finding a job in the specific fields. Which after I decided to pursue the education path. And in 2014 I started teaching at Ernst Jager Combined School in Karasburg. And in that specific year I found a lot about myself. And I also found out that I actually have a great passion for kids and education. And ever since 2014, I've been in the teaching industry in education for 7 years now. I've moved from Ernst Jager to Kronline Primary School, where I've been teaching social studies and science for 4 years, and then after that I moved to Keetmanshoop Secondary School as a life skills teacher until present. And I'm very grateful that things didn't work out for me at first. Where I wanted to be a psychologist or somewhere in media, because if it would have worked out for me back then I would not have known that I have this passion or this talent for education and for children. The future, when we look at the future, I have a lot of plans in store, and I'm thinking a lot and I'm dreaming a lot. When it comes to kids, I just want to help them. So whatever project I always tackle, I always involve kids. Mother Teresa once said, if you help one person, that's more than enough. Whether you can reach one or many, you know, that one person that you've reached or that one person that you've helped is more than enough. So that is my aim. For my school, I have so many dreams for our school, Keetmanshoop Secondary School. We have a paint project that is in our heads, and our allergies are the ones behind the project, and you know, I would like to make their dream a reality too by painting our school. And you know, there's so many things that we want to make a reality at our school, and we're going to take it step by step. But I promise that I would like to do these things, and I hope that I reach them one day. Personally, I am still busy doing my degree in education, so I'm hoping to complete that degree soon, so that I can also then continue and climb the ladder in education. Though I don't really think that I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be with the kids. I'm supposed to be in the classroom because that's where I love to be. And 10 years, that is now my siblings and I. We would like to make happy children, or children hearts happy, and we would like to give them a basket full of toiletries, something sweet, and a plaything, a toy. And we would like to give it to them during the December festive time, yeah, so that each of them could also have, you know, that pleasure of having a gift before Christmas or so. Another project at school that we have is the girl sanitary products or pads that we have, where we give sanitary pads to the learners or the girls. Every girl at school, we try to keep them at school, and we give every girl at school every month a packet of sanitary pads. Yeah. Main inspiration for me when a child, I don't want to say struggles in life, but when a child has an issue or a situation and this child opens up to me, it means that the child trusts me, and that means a lot to me. When a child trusts you, you know that you can walk a path with that child, and that inspires me, that keeps me going, because I know that there are still children out there who needs help, who needs to hold your hand, who needs, you know, motivation, who needs encouragement, and so on. And that keeps me going as a life skills teacher, because then you know that you are actually working, that, you know, you are not just there. You are called a life skills teacher, but you're not there. So yeah, basically, when a child has a problem, I know that I want to help, and that is what inspires me. In 2019, when I started at Keetmans Secondary School, I found a soup kitchen, but it wasn't running as smoothly as it should be. So I've taken over, and we made good progress until 2020, when the COVID pandemic hit us. And during that time, there was a standstill, maybe from March up until almost the end of the year. And, you know, we could not continue the soup kitchen because many of our sponsors were depleted. Many of the companies who sponsored us closed down, and a lot of our donations and things we could not get. As a result, we could not operate our soup kitchen. In fact, the learners came to me in the start of 2021, and they told me, ma'am, what we did in 2019 was actually very good, because for some of us, that was the only meal we could get per day. We go home and we don't have anything. So that made me think, and that inspired me to restart this whole soup kitchen thing. And I approached sponsors, I approached people, and a lot of people came on board. They pledged their support, and we started this whole thing. By this, I would like to encourage every Namibian to be brave.
Here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Today in studio, we're joined by Sem Uutoni. He's the founder of African Pathfinders Leadership Initiative. How are you doing this afternoon, Sem?
I am excellent. I'm excited to be here. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's an honor to be sitting here with you. So let's get right into it. APLI just celebrated its 3rd birthday last week. Yeah. What does this mean to you?
It was a joyous moment. Filled with immense pride. I think when we started APLI 3 odd years ago, it was just a dream, and then to see how far we've come 3 years later, the amount of young people we've impacted, the amount of communities they have gone on to impact has been phenomenal. So I think it's been a rewarding experience. I think more than anything, we took the day just to reflect on what we've done and to pat ourselves on the back sometimes, because we don't do that a lot. And we're excited for the future.
That's honestly amazing. What was the initial aim of APLI, and after a few years, would you say these objectives have been met?
I think objectives have been met, if I may say so myself. I think the initial aim was to look at how we can invest in the talent and the potential of young people, and most importantly, how we can make young people positive agents of change in their community. So it's really raising up a generation of business leaders and social entrepreneurs that are able to contribute towards the development of their societies. And I think 3 years later, we have been able to do that.
You mentioned how you work with the youth. So the APLI is a very youth-centered initiative, and what is the advantage of having a platform like this for the young ones?
So I think APLI is unique because it's a platform that is created by the youth for the youth. When we started in 2018, we were one of the only few youth-founded and youth-led initiatives. And I think that puts us in a critical position, because I think nobody understands the issues that young people are facing best than young people themselves. So I think to have young people at the forefront of this organization, to have young people providing training and capacity building opportunities to other young people, I think that set us apart. And I think even 3 years later, I think we have the success that we had because we share such an intimate knowledge of the issues that are affecting young people the most.
Well, I love that. APLI has a fellowship program. Tell us more about this, please.
Yeah, so the fellowship program is our flagship program, and it's a one-year program where we take on about 20 odd fellows each year. So the first year we had 18 fellows, and then last year we took in 14 fellows. And the aim of that is really to look at young people that are either entrepreneurs, leaders in their communities, or owners of NGOs, and we put them through a one-year accelerator program. And the idea is to take them from here to like literally here. So when they exit the program after a year, we can see substantial changes, not only in their businesses and their NGOs, but even personally. So the program really focuses on developing 3 things in young leaders. It focuses on developing entrepreneurship aspect, there's a community development aspect, and there's a leadership aspect. And I think the last one is very important because we know that you can't lead a business or an NGO if you don't know how to lead yourself properly. True. So we really put a big emphasis on that.
I love this idea so much. Mention some of your proudest moments as the founder of this youth development initiative, and why do these moments stand out to you?
So at the end of 2019, I believe in December, we had a graduation for our first cohort. And I think that was one of my proudest moments because it really showed us, since that was our first exiting group, it really showed us what this initiative could be and what it could do for young people. And I think what it symbolized was even greater. About a week ago, one of our fellows that we trained in 2019 opened up a computer lab at one school in his village with over 15 computers, a server and a printer. And now students at that school, at that high school, can have access to ICT material and ICT knowledge. And that reminds us of why we started this initiative, but also why we do what we do, is in order to empower other young people so they can then take it forward into their communities.
Where are some of the future plans that you have? What are some of the future plans that you have for APLI?
So we are also, I think, much like a lot of organizations post-COVID, going through a bit of a transition period where we are then trying to see this is what we have done for the last 3 years. It has yielded exceptional results. Where do we go on from here? So I think our ethos is very much everything that is pro-youth, all things youth empowerment, all things youth development. What that specifically looks like, I think as an organization, we are still trying to clarify, because I think there is a need for organizations to evolve and to constantly change their value proposition in order to ensure that they are giving values to their end users. So that is the exercise that we are currently going through. But no doubt we will continue to be at the forefront of youth issues in Namibia and providing opportunities and access and resources to young people to become the best that they can be. And we know that when young people are the best that they can be, the entire country wins and we all move forward.
Exactly, like they say, the youth is the future.
We are the future.
Well, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, and thank you for empowering us as the youth. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. It was great fun.
It was very interesting and insightful.
Yeah.
So next up, we head on over to School Corner. Welcome back to our segment called School Corner. In this segment, we focus on all the school news from around the country. Our first school newspaper is brought to you from Bergop Academy in Okahandja. They touch more on the AS levels, a school break-in that occurred, how to become an active sports star, and their newly elected LRC. Next up is Jeugje van der Walt Secondary School with a jam-packed school newspaper with the mock examination that commenced on the 13th of September 2021. Jeugje van der Walt Secondary School's grade 11 learners tried to stay positive and keep their thoughts off the crowding work and incomplete syllabuses. The newspaper also shared some great sport news on 7 learners from the school that joined in an international STEM organization and club, and so much more. Watch the following video from the editor to learn more about the happenings.
Hello viewers, my name is Lamasipa, editor of Jeugje van der Walt Secondary School. My journey with my zone has been such a fun roller coaster because they've taught me how to enhance my communication skills, how to view everyone's perspective differently, and above all to have fun at the end of the day. I'd like to end off by saying that cyberbullying is a serious offense which could lead to psychological trauma. Just because it's not physical doesn't mean that it won't leave any scars. Words can definitely hurt too. If you are a victim of cyberbullying, please make sure to speak to a life skills teacher or even a loved one. It only gets better when you talk about it. Well folks, that's all for now. Please stay tuned for more of my zone's post and make sure you wear your mask and stay safe.
The editorial team of Tsumeb Gymnasium also shares some great news with us all the way from Tsumeb, with everything from sports to academics and culture. Last but not least, we take a look at Epako Secondary School. At my zone, we share school news from all corners, and this school is ready for action with their last edition of the year. Next up, we have a video from Privat School Al Nathan on the Day of the Namibian Child celebrations.
Hallo julle, ek is Diana Bindeman. Ek is van Janu Visser, die ATM Café se voorsitter, en vandag is African Child's Day. Janu, nou wat het julle vir ons gereël vir vandag?
Ons het 'n dag gereël waar almal 'n deel van hulle self kan kom uitbeeld en 'n deel van Afrika, waar hulle gewone klere kan aantrek om iets van Afrika uit te beeld, want ons wil bietjie kultuur en tradisie terugbring na ons as Afrika land toe. So ja, dis 'n baie lekker dag en ek sien bitter baie mense wat die opdrag reg uitvoer, en dit skep eintlik so baie trots om te weet jy's deel van Afrika en jy kan sien hoe die tipe verskillende kulture en alles hier uitgebeeld word vandag.
Dankie Janu.
What an interesting segment of School Corner, but now we head on over to Varsity Chat Room. But before we do, please do subscribe to our school Telegram channels. Welcome back to Varsity Chat Room. This segment focuses on all the Varsity news from around the country. On page 8, we have the story on the Namibian University of Science and Technology that hosted its 15th graduation ceremony of the Commercial Advancement Training Scheme, which was first launched in 2005. We also read about Loide Ashele, a Namibian student who is currently a 5th-year medical student at Cavendish University, Zambia. She started her medical studies in 2017, which is a 7-year course. Let's hear more about what she has to say. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, I am Ashera Loide, a 5th-year medical student at Cavendish Medical University, Zambia. I started my medical studies in 2017 and it's a 7-year course. So right now I'm doing my 5th year and I'm doing my clinicals at Livingston. So the application process was quite easy for me because they came all the way to Namibia. The marketing team was all over the country trying to get different applicants, and I actually was so eager to start my career. I applied when I was my 11th grade and I got in. So when I was done with my matric, I just made like a follow-up, and then I was in the school. Staying here during the pandemic era, it was quite of a struggle, rather a challenge, because I mean, during this time, you just want to be close to your relatives, your family members, and you are all the way different miles apart. So all you gotta do is just be strong for you and for them, and stay focused, and do not let anything interfere with your concentration. So yeah, it's just really being strong from within. What challenges did I experience during here? Rather the language barrier, cultural differences, and yeah, those things. I mean, those are common challenges you can experience at every other foreign country. But otherwise, the people are super friendly. The orientation was okay. I really have not so much to complain about. My advice to first years is, so if you want to go study to a foreign country, wherever you want to go, first things first, do not fear following your dreams. regardless of the depth or the distance that you have to travel. I mean, stay focused, obviously, and always remember, every morning, remember why you started, and remind yourself that you're going to do this, you're going to reach it to the end. Yeah, basically that, and just know why you go there, know why you started. Try by all means not to be influenced. Such things as peer pressure, we take them very mildly, but they can really ruin your career. And yeah, good luck.
Namvok Vocational Institute in Okakarara also hosted its first graduation ever since its inception. Over 60 students graduated today in different technical fields. Let's hear what some of the graduates had to say.
My name is Israel Jombonde, a trainer for bricklaying and plastering. So it's just a word of encouragement to them that I'm very excited about them, that for the last day they are here. So I just ask them to keep it up, and their intention is highly appreciated. Bricklaying and plastering. Muhunga oto homu aro muhunga katitimba rino uyo katitino muhunga mububu nao wemba na mbena pa ino kave umbena nakatitwa neni sogomana po iporokorombithamana.
Unfortunately, all good things come to an end. So from the Generation C crew and I, it's bye-bye.